Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Hey everybody, it's Tuesday night, which means it's another live Wicked Horror Show. I'm Kevin, and as always, I'm joined by Tony Has Nine Fingers.
What is going on, people?
And Tony, would you like to introduce our special guest?
Sure. Returning guest, I should say. We have the awesome Kate Kiddo on from many things. We had her on late last year talking about some of the movies that are soon to be coming out. Terror Trips is out. You guys should check that out. Dark Circles, a whole bunch of stuff. Kate, how are you?
Great. Thank you for having me back. I'm really happy to be here, guys.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like you're a part of a lot of movies that I've been clamoring for a while. So I'm happy to see that they're finally coming out. Yeah, well, Terror Trips has been out for a little bit, right? How long has Terror Trips been out for streaming?
It's been out since mid-June, and it went straight to a lot of the major ones, like the Spectrum and iTunes and like Apple TV and all of those things. So it's been everywhere. It's
been out for a little bit. Have you heard any kind of feedback on the movie?
Yes. So I do continue to get feedback, but mostly from overseas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I will get a bunch of messages of people liking it, and sending me very, very nice stuff. I have to say though, and I sent it to Jeff, the director of the movie, I was very surprised. It's like that one moment where somebody you knew from college, from 10 years ago, and the guy sends me a message saying, hey, so I was going to bed and I was trying to, fall asleep to a horror film, and I chose Terror Trips. Imagine my surprise when you popped on the screen. It was like, I had no idea. So we hadn't,
She froze up. Bloop, bloop. Her house is wicked haunted. We'll wait for her to come back. And yeah, there you are.
Did it have to happen? Like, we were fine. We were fine for such a long time.
I was like, I just said your house was wicked haunted.
Probably.
Yeah. So you cut off when you had sent the director a message from your college person. Okay.
So the guy's like, I was trying to fall asleep to a horror movie, and I picked a film called Terror Trips, and imagine my surprise when you popped on the screen. Because he had no idea that I worked in movies. He was like, oh, congrats. Great job. It's like, okay, thanks. So awesome. That was my most memorable piece of feedback there, for sure.
Nice. Well, what did you go to school for?
I actually have 2 business degrees, which...
Oh, business stinks. So, but I mean, it's probably good in your field to know some kind of business, I guess, right?
Some kind of business, yeah. The only problem is that right after I finished, social media really took off. So that flipped everything on its head. And it's just like, I guess everything that we knew before this is useless now. So,
I mean, it's weird. I mean, it's weird how that happens. Like, you go to school and you learn all these things, you're studying for as long as you are, and then you graduate, and like everything you just learned is outdated and it's worth nothing now. Congrats. Yeah.
But I mean, at least, like you have a certain mindset about the basic and fundamental things, and
right.
That's pretty much all you can hope for.
Right. Well, but now you're an actress, and you're a successful actress. You're in all these awesome things. And Tony, what were you saying?
Now, I was just going to say, at least you have the background of it, because a lot of these, you have your social media. I mean, the hardest part is to, get your foot in the door. But then all these people, they don't know the background of it. They don't know, what to do with it after. So, I mean, at least,
I still don't know what to do with it. Like, even though I've had like a glimpse of, so this is what work is like. And then like, I still can't figure it out. But,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, I mean, I have plenty of friends that have degrees from like awesome, like crazy colleges, and like they're doing like they have like an English degree, and their dream growing up was they were going to be a college professor teaching English or whatever, or, teaching whatever. And like, all right, so instead they just opened a brewery, and that's what they do now, and it's awesome. I mean, that's great. They're successful, and it's like, I mean, it's probably good that they went to school, but it's just like all those bills, what happened? Ghosts. More ghosts. Anywho, but yeah, so Sergio was confused about what we're talking about. We're talking about Terror Trips. Terror Trips is out now. It's available streaming in multiple places.
I'm just gonna get off the Wi-Fi, you guys.
Blurp, blurp, blurp. It's available streaming in multiple places, and Dark Circles is coming out. That's one that we've been wanting to see for a while. And that's one that I had an opportunity to possibly. There you are.
Sorry, I just got off the Wi-Fi. Which is really, it's definitely really weird, because we had a chance to talk for a long time.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we got on.
Yeah. Well, that's usually, sometimes it happens whenever, even though this isn't like it's more of a website or whatever. Sometimes the connection, once it goes live, the connection kind of.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But either way, everything's fine. We were just talking while we're waiting for it to come back. We're just talking about how it's available. Terror Trips is available for streaming and stuff in multiple places out there. So as far as Terror Trip, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I even saw a bootleg version in Russian.
Really?
That's when you made it at that point in time.
You went to Russia?
Hmm?
You went to Russia and saw it?
No, I because my family always asks me, hey, so when can we watch your movies, and when are they going to be in Russian and stuff? I was like, you know what, let me check, because I know that the production team had the plans to put it overseas and translate it and all of that good stuff. So I was like, well, maybe they did. I don't know, I haven't really been keeping up with it. And then I typed it in Russian, just the name of the movie. And it popped up. I found it, and I told my mom, I was like, there's a bootleg version. Like, you'll have to watch a 15 seconds of a porno beforehand.
Is that really what it is?
Yeah. Well, it's not, but they'll play an ad, right?
Oh, yeah.
And usually those bootleg websites, like, they'll have the vilest ads.
Oh, really?
And that was for a site where you can replace anybody's face.
Oh,
with
really?
Whatever you want.
Oh, geez, that's crazy.
I was like,
well, either
this
way,
is bad.
You've made it when you're a bootleg, I guess, right?
Exactly. When it's like on the streets of China and stuff like this, you get those like ones with a different name or different face, and it's like, okay, well, they just took all the mainstream ones, so
yeah,
you made it.
That's awesome. So I just watched Terror Trips for the second time, and Tony, you just recently watched it as well, right?
Well, I watched it before, and then I just watched it to refresh my memory
for both of us.
Exactly.
So the only complaint I had when I did a review with the 13th Wolfman over on the audio side was and it's just me being nitpicky and being like, I have pay attention to the dumbest things. There's like one scene where Elsie Holt is wearing different shoes.
Uh-oh.
Yep. He's wearing like these sneakers like the whole time. And then he's wearing like, like those Hey Dude shoes. They're like almost like slippers. He's wearing those in like one scene. And I'm like, but then like the next scene, he's got those shoes back on. That like, I don't know why I saw it, but I did. And but that's the only thing, that's my only complaint with the movie. That's it.
Awesome.
That's pretty good, right?
That is pretty good.
Yeah. So it's a really cool story. So So actually, Sergio would like this because he always asks people if they've gone to the camp where they did Friday the 13th, and that's actually mentioned in the movie. And they actually go there, I believe. Or do they actually go to those locations, or is it like trickery?
Well, actually, as far as I remember, that was the like the second unit footage that they got, I think, beforehand. I know that there were some pickups later, but I know that Jeff and some of the production team did travel to all those places to get the footage. Now,
Okay.
I don't know if they got the actors to actually visit again to shoot or not, because I
Maybe
know
they
that.
just like, you look like them from the back. We'll just shoot you from the back. That kind of thing, possibly.
Well, some of them, I know that he got back in town after we wrapped to do some pickups. So I don't know if it was that for that or not, because I wasn't involved in it.
Yeah, but it's so Sergio, they do mention that camp, and they go there for a very short amount of time. It's like almost like a montage-y kind of thing.
Camp Nobi Bosco.
There you go.
Right?
Yes.
I remember.
And so Sergio, because I know that you're interested in these kind of things, and actually there's another guy that I do another show with who actually, like, he has a website that does very well where he just travels around finding movie locations.
Kenny?
I don't know.
No? Okay. Well,
Is there someone you know that does that?
Yeah, Kenny, actually, he's got a whole business. He built the replica of the Myers house.
Oh, really?
So yeah, On-Set Cinema is his business, and he will actually travel all over the world and show movies at the locations where they were filmed.
That's cool.
So I thought you were talking about Kenny.
Yeah, it's I forget what it's called. What was that, Tony?
Did he recently do a sleepaway camp one?
I'm not sure about that, to be honest.
Because I know one of my buddies also is in contact with. I guess there's multiple people that do it.
Yeah, there's like a whole community of people that do this. But
he just went to wherever they did up in upstate New York, I think, wherever they shot the first sleepaway camp with Felissa Rose. I guess whoever he went with, they did like a 20-person or 25-person thing where they went to the camp, which he said looks nothing like it used to. But there was bits and pieces of it, and they took them to the different locations, and then on the beach they showed the movie at night. So I'm guessing there's a bunch of people.
I like. I mean, the idea of the movie is awesome, and that's basically the idea of the movie. And it's a business that's setting up, scouting these locations to do these like trips, and I would be on board completely as a tourist. I'd be all about it. And then so you're in the movie. You play it's supposed to be in Poland, right?
Yes.
And so is Polish and Russian very close language wise?
They do have certain roots, but we even have different alphabets.
Okay.
Certain words will sound similar, but a Russian person would not be able to understand Polish.
Okay.
And maybe some Polish people would understand Russian. I'm not sure, but it's kind of like Canada will speak French and English.
Yeah.
But in the US, you won't understand Canadians when they speak French. So that's kind of how.
That's just because we're ignorant.
Well, I think that's how we.
Oh, really?
We're a big country. Everybody's around us. So how about you?
See, that's the one thing, because I work like what I do for work. Like, I talk to a lot of people that English isn't their first language, and they always apologize to me because their English isn't so great. I'm like, you have nothing to apologize for. You speak at least 1.5 languages. I speak one barely. So you've won this round. Now pay your bills. So that what you were actually speaking, was that Polish in the movie? Did you have to learn lines phonetically or anything?
I was speaking Russian.
Okay.
Because we were supposed to be the
KGB.
the remnants of what used to be, and whatever. There is a lady who's speaking Polish, so there are people from here and there, because it is Poland, right? So you see this lady who freaks out when she sees them on like her property.
Farm.
She's proper Polish. And then the rest of us speak Russian. And actually I did have to coach my co-stars in Russian too. So we did a lot of work in pre-production and during production as well. And I was very proud of them too.
Oh yeah, totally. Like, I was impressed. I would not be able to do that. It would have to be like line by line by line. It would be like the most choppy take ever.
Oh, that's
like each word.
That's the kind of work that it took too. I would record the lines word by word with like transcription and like send them over. And we were all in the same cast house together. Well, not all of us, but the main cast was in the same house. So we would have those really late nights when we had to study together. And what's actually really funny is that Carol Ann, who plays my mother, she told me the story that she was watching the movie with one of her friends, and the guy is watching me, and his complaint about the movie was, that girl is really putting the Russian on.
Well,
putting on the accent.
Yeah. I'm sorry to tell you, sir. But no, that's I mean, that's kind of weird.
She's laying it on thick.
Yeah, well, he doesn't know what he's talking about, obviously. But the movie's really good. I liked it a lot. It is a little different than I thought it was going to be. Like, I didn't when it was still being made and stuff like that, I thought I was going to go more into the actual locations each. You know what I mean? But I'm glad the way it happened. I'm glad it happened that way, because it makes it more concrete kind of deal, as opposed to jumping around, from location to location, like as far as like not haunted location, but movie location and stuff. So, but I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I'm glad you did. Yeah. And it was, I guess that was the cornerstone of the whole thing, was the location of the Black Volga. So that was really the focus. So.
Now, was that a movie that you had ever heard of before?
No. Jeff told me about it, and I don't know. It's actually, you can't find it anywhere. That's the thing. It's very obscure, but apparently it exists. I've tried searching for it, and obviously it's harder for Jeff because he doesn't speak or read Russian. So I figured maybe I could be of some assistance and actually look on like Russian websites. No dice. I wasn't able
but
to.
I mean, it's like shown on IMDb that the movie does exist. So it does exist. It's just a matter of if you could ever see it.
I don't know if it's the right one. I know that there's like a couple of them, but maybe if it's the right one, that's cool.
This one was from like 1971 and is actually a shot in the movie in Terror Trips that is like almost exactly the same as what's in the trailer.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so like when it shows like the little girl playing in the front yard, that's not in the trailer. It shows a little boy playing with a ball, and then the car pulls up, and you know how like in the when they're watching it, it pulls up, and you can see like the wheel from the car, and then it like backs out. In the trailer, the camera's under the car. You can see the inside of the wheel, and it backs out, and the kid is gone. But that's it. That's all you see. Like, there's nothing else in the trailer. So he tried to reproduce that pretty well, which is pretty awesome, because I was like, hey, that's the same shot from the movie. What do you know?
Well, he was very fired up about it. And I was really, really hoping to find that movie and get it on a DVD. So maybe I could give it to him as a wrap gift. I think he would probably freak out.
Yeah.
But I wasn't able to do that. But even, he put a lot of thought and effort into that side of the story, because like even the car was real.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Yep.
So.
And it's a pretty cool looking car. So I don't know how we tracked that down in the middle of Ohio.
Of Ohio. Yeah. Well, as far as I understand, his producer's dad is a collector, I guess, and that car had been sitting in his garage for some time.
Oh wow.
So
How things fall into place.
For real. We're just talking about that. We're talking about how like with your house and everything.
I
So
must say,
sorry, go ahead, Tony.
watching the movie, the one thing I like is, character development and stuff. And I must say, not just because we have you on the show, but your character, even though it flips, you have to watch the movie to understand. But I must say, you are pretty badass in the movie.
You are.
thank you.
So,
And it's funny too, because you were so like, oh, it's just so nice and blah blah blah. Then it's like the one scene where you're like almost like skipping out of the garage towards them, and then that who taught you how to kung fu? That's what I want to know. Who taught you how to fight?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so all of those things, actually, I did have to train for it for a while, and like stretch and everything, because I'm a lot like my dad. And we're very stiff, even though my dad used to do martial arts when he was younger and compete and all of that stuff. But I'm very stiff. So it took me months to get even that high, which was very, very scary. I was afraid of not delivering what was supposed to be there. And there are pictures of me on set with ankle weights so that I could start, throwing my legs.
I was going to say, because I thought I saw either a picture or like a little video clip, like behind the scenes of you doing kicks. So I wonder if that was ankle weights or not.
It could have been.
Oh, but it was just like, it wasn't even behind the house there. It was like over in front of the garage, if I remember correctly. But
yeah, maybe I was just warming my hips up, and then Carolina was taking a video, and I just thought I'd give her a little shimmy. But yeah, you can tell, and I'm just like throwing my my feet there. I did fall on my behind a couple of times during the shoot, doing that. But I trained for a while on my own, and then when we got there on the day, Cheney and I did the fight. It did work out, sort of, I guess. It worked, but yeah, we basically figured it out on the day how to not hurt each other.
Yeah, and then I would have to say that scene is probably the goriest scene in the movie as well.
Really?
I would think so. I mean, just as far as the amount that's coming out, it was a good amount. I was like, well, that's a pretty steady stream right there. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. What you're talking about, skipping out of the garage, that's actually. Yeah. That was my choice. That was on purpose, and I guess that was like my favorite part, because it just, I just did it, and it was not, in the script or anything like that. But I remember that was the first time I ever made a choice ever in my acting, and I remember they cut, and the DP goes, "Did she skip out of that garage?" And they just started laughing. And I was like, oh, that was a good choice. I love it. So they were like, yeah, just do that. So.
Yeah, because it's like the change, like, the change is there. And it's like you went from being like this, like, just, nice lady to being like, she's evil. Like
diabolical.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So do you like playing the baddies? Like, even though like you're not bad the whole time, do you like playing the baddies?
I feel, when I watch the movie, of course, I know that what's going to happen, and I see my face. I'm like, oh, you can't, like, look at that face. No, that's over. But yeah, of course, it's always really fun. Although I'm trying to think, have I played other baddies before? Really? Not really. I love playing the baddies. I look like the baddies. But for some reason, and I kind of anticipated it when I was casting things, that I would mostly be kind of typecast into this like bitch. or
I don't think you look like one. I'm just saying, I don't think you look like one. Yeah. Tony, on the other hand, he's a wicked bitch. Look at him. Just kidding.
I got that resting bitch face, of course.
Well, me too. I have a terrible bitch face, and then I'll see pictures of me. I'm like, whoa, who hurt you? But no, I think that was the only one that I kind of, yeah, that I played such a baddie, and then I only played a ghoul in the other one. But everything else has been nice, especially that very recent one, the Christmas movie. I mean, obviously, so I play a nice lady.
Oh yeah, nice.
I didn't anticipate.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen too much. I mean, I've only seen Terror Trips. I don't know if I've seen anything else you've been in.
There hasn't been much.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're still waiting on some, but you did the stuff with Joe Stoffer, which I believe is on the internet.
That's right. I forgot all about that. That's right. Man. I was wondering. I was like, there was someone who had something to do with Joe. I'm like, who was it? Yeah, so it was you. That's great.
Yeah.
I was talking about Pieces of Talent again over the weekend. I'm honest. Like, I was at the convention, and I was just like, people were like talking about movies and blah blah blah, and I mentioned Pieces of Talent because it's like one of those movies that like not everyone's seen, and it's like something worth tracking down. I was talking to David Howard Thornton because we're talking about clown movies and stuff. And I was talking about how like at the time when Terrifier came out, we were pretty saturated in clown movies, so it took a lot for one to stick out. You know, I'm like, besides that one, the only other one that really stuck out to me was Circus of the Dead and blah, blah, blah. And we were talking about indie filmmakers. And I mentioned Joe Stoffer and Pieces of Talent. It's still one that I think people should see personally. It was my favorite that year. Yeah. But I have to check that out. I forgot that it was there. Thanks, Tony.
No problem. That's what I'm here for. But
we didn't finish it. It was a series and we didn't finish it.
It's a cliffhanger.
It's a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But we were talking about the last time we had you on, we were talking about, the movies coming out and such, and how I saw you at a convention, but it was with Damien. At this point in time, have you done your own, like, have you gone for, actually, I don't know if it was, you were at a convention, but I on your Instagram, you had a fan tattoo your, initials on her arm or something? Like, how,
oh, yeah.
How is that like fame or whatever you want to call it? Because at this point in time, not everybody gets their name tattooed on someone else's arm. So.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, I can't even imagine. Like,
I don't know. It's not even, I wouldn't call it fame. I think it's just Samantha. She's just very excited. But, and she's lovely. But she has seen me at other like conventions and stuff like that. And especially since I used to live in North Carolina, so I would pop in to Mad Monster or, Fear Fest and stuff like that. So, and she's from thereabouts. That was really wild too, for sure, because we had just, I think, finished working on Dark Circles. So I was there. I was signing a few things too, which I didn't expect to do, but so people were coming and bringing us the Dark Circles things, different pictures. And so we were signing those. And then Samantha walked over and she was like, hey, can you sign it? So I signed it. She walks away, comes back. She's like, can you, I signed it with a little heart. So she's like, can you put your heart on my wrist here? And I tried, and I took a Sharpie and I put a heart there, and I'm just like, this is not working. This looks like dog shit. So I'm like, okay, scratch that. And I am trying, there's a bottle of water, and I'm trying to rub it out of her wrist. And I'm just like, no, like, this isn't happening right now. So we got it off. And then I got the heart on there or something, and then she walks away, and then she comes back. She's like, no, let's just do your autograph. I'm like, okay. So I put it on a little, like a piece of paper, and you probably know that at Mad Monster they have tattoo artists there, and she went, and I was like, I'm gonna come too. I'm gonna see. You're talking a big game. I'm gonna watch this crazy broad. So I went there, and the only thing I didn't do is hold her hand through it, but that's only because she was sitting too far away.
So that's pretty great. I mean, I was just at a convention last weekend, and they had a tattoo artist there too, and there was people getting signatures like on their legs and arms and getting them tattooed right then. Like it was like literally walking out of the celebrity room right to the tattoo booth.
Oh
like,
yeah, that's dangerous. Yeah. And she's got a dark circles tattoo on the back of her neck.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that online. I was wondering who that was. I think it was on your Instagram, right? You posted it on your Instagram?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's that says something right there. But before we get too much into Dark Circles, I do want to play the Terror Trips trailer.
Oh, sure.
So if anyone's interested in checking out Terror Trips, it's available streaming pretty much everywhere.
On
yeah.
Amazon Prime, where you can rent it or purchase it and stuff like that. So
yeah. So here we go. Here's the official trailer for Terror Trips.
I'm starting a new business. It's called Terror Trips. We give guided tours of the locations where they filmed the most iconic horror films, the classics. Then, after dark, we screen the movie at that location.
What are we watching tonight?
Black Volga takes place in a small town in Poland where there's been a wave of kidnappings. The rumors were that the Soviets were sending in KGB agents to kidnap the kids for a number of horrifying reasons. Blood transfusions, organ harvesting, sex trafficking. The worst of the worst.
Guys, we are expanding Terror Trips to Europe.
What? We want you all to join us on another scouting trip?
To Europe!
Hey, I don't have any bars.
Yeah, your cell phone's not gonna work out here.
Can I help you?
We were supposed to park our car here for a couple of days. You should probably hold on to these. If I lose those in the woods after a night of drinking, that would be bad.
Is that why you're here, huh? Party in the forest?
That and to see the movie location.
Excuse me? That movie destroyed this town. People here have not forgotten. So I'm warning you. Do not tell anyone else why you're here.
Guys, I think we should leave.
Don't you think that's just a little bit of an overreaction?
She's right. We cannot add this place to the Terror Trip list any longer, so we'll leave first thing tomorrow morning.
If it helps, tomorrow we'll all be on a train to Prague getting drunk.
Yes. Guys, get some rest. Get the hell up out of here.
I think we need to analyze the situation. We're in the middle of nowhere, near a shitty little town full of pissed off locals. One of our party is missing. How is this not a horror movie?
There you go. Terror Trips, everyone.
How
So
long
just saying
is that
hi.
thing?
That trailer? It was 2 minutes and 32 seconds, almost a minute longer than Dark Circles. The Dark Circles one is the teaser trailer. But so yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. Everyone seems, I mean, we've had a majority of the cast on, and everyone seems so awesome. So it must be a wicked good time working with those guys. Everyone just seems really cool. I want to meet them all. And I don't think I've met any of them in person. But I want to, so you should all do conventions in my area or something.
You haven't met Damien?
Nope. I haven't. I've missed out multiple times. Yeah.
We've had him on here a couple times, but he never met him. I met him for the first time at the New Jersey Horror Con, so that was awesome. He's a lot taller than I expected. But
I that's the thing is I jokingly say he seems much shorter than I would, than he looks in the movies, but he's obviously not short. He's probably, I'm assuming he's taller than I am, but I don't know. Everyone just seems really cool. And like, it's one of those things where you guys are all super talented. So I always like to, pay for an autograph, even if it's a little thing, like, thank you for being great, that kind of thing.
Well, Hannah's just started doing conventions, as far as I know, too. So you might catch her somewhere. Yeah. Well, actually, it's funny that you say that, is because that was my. I'm always very nervous going into a project, and I, can't sleep. And I was driving into Ohio. It was a long drive, and I knew that we were going to be staying in the house all together. And of course, I've seen a couple of movies that these guys have been in before, and a little bit of intimidation starts creeping in, right? So I'm just like, okay, so there's this beautiful girl, Hannah, and she's an actress, and I know it's just gonna be, I don't know what it's gonna be, right? Like me, I'm gonna be in the house, this who are you kind of thing. So I get there. And the very first night, I think I accidentally, I was passing her on the staircase and she said hello to me, but then they were already sleeping when I got there. So the first night that we actually got to come out and see each other, we stayed up till 4:30 in the morning. And ever since then, we were doing the same exact thing, just staying up, talking, having fun. And I don't think we ever properly went to sleep, even though the shoots were day shoots. And sometimes we reminisce about those days, and we're like, remember, we were staying up till 5 o'clock in the morning. We had to be on set at 7 or 8 or 9. How did we do that? Because I don't remember a single night where we got a full night's sleep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's the excitement of working with friends, I guess, right?
I guess we kind of became that bonded.
Yeah, definitely.
And
she's
then
definitely someone I want to meet. I want to meet her in person and be able to shake her hand and buy an autograph from her, because she's been in so many things that and when the first time we had her on the show, it was I was finding out more things she was in that I didn't realize was her, and I'm like, holy crap, I love that. I didn't realize it was you. Even comedies and stuff like that. Besides movies, she was in a TV show from the UK
Toast
that
of
I
London.
like. Yeah, oh my god, I love that show. God damn it, Matt Berry's a genius. Anyways.
That was so funny. We were sitting at the table on Terror Trips, and she's like, "Oh, Matt just texted. He wants to grab a beer." I'm like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, that's great. That actually came up in conversation as well, because I was talking to David Howard Thornton about anything else that he would want to do, and he's like, "I'd love to do a show like What We Do in the Shadows or something like that." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, you'd be great in that." I'm like, "Oh yeah, by the way, someone has worked with him." And he's like, "What?" And I was telling him all these Matt Berry shows and sent him a list. But yeah, it just, everyone seems really cool. So we jokingly call you guys the Rat Pack, the new Rat Pack, because you guys are just traveling around the country making awesome movies that I can't wait to see. And and it's, I don't know, it's cool. I'm glad to see it. We need it. We need new blood.
Oh yeah, you know what though? I think our movies haven't been all that bloody though.
No. I mean, new blood as far as
oh yeah.
A new pack of stars. Don't
Right.
get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. The stars that we have, I love. But I mean, it's cool to see. Because one thing too, and we mentioned a lot. Tony brings up that I mentioned a lot. I like to see progression. So we haven't really seen much before Terror Trips from you, other than the stuff with Joe Stauffer that Tony saw. So one of these days you're going to be a gigantic star, and I'll be like, yeah, I talked to him back when she was on Terror Trips.
I guess at that point in time when Samantha is like, "Hey, look, you see, I got this," when she first went to her first convention, because
got this for free.
now you're going to be doing horror movie conventions, and you'll do the Hallmark Christmas conventions as well. You get a little bit,
I don't think
get a
they
little
have
bit
them.
of both.
They do have those. Unfortunately,
Are
they
you
do have those.
serious?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they have Hallmark Christmas. Those are literally the only two conventions it seems like they have. Well, they have Comic Cons and stuff, but horror movies, and then they just started doing Christmas conventions.
What?
Christmas movies. Yeah, what's her name's in all of them? Lacey
Dee
Chambers.
Wallace. Dee Wallace is in a
Lacey
ton of
Chabert,
them.
yeah.
Yeah, she's in it, so she's been to a whole bunch. They have some in Jersey, I think they have, in New York, I believe.
Nothing says Christmas like Jersey.
Hey.
That was so funny, because as soon as you said Hallmark conventions, Lacey Chabert was the first person I thought of. I'm like, oh, Lacey's probably on there.
Yeah, she's my buddies met her a couple times.
Okay.
But
This is going to age me. This is going to age me right now. But back in the day, it was all about Meredith Baxter Burney. She was in all of those movies. She was the Was she the mom on Family Ties? I think something like that. But she was in all those Hallmark movies. Meredith Baxter Burney in blah 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 and whatever. I'm
Well,
old.
I definitely
Anyways.
didn't expect for Tom Arnold to be in the Hallmark movie. I never expected the Tom Arnold Hallmark movie.
Well, people need to work.
Because at that point in time, like, I didn't expect to see Tom Arnold in horror movies, and then the movie Dead End came out, and I'm like, okay. And then
He was also in A Nightmare on Elm Street as well. He's in one of those later in the series with Roseanne. Yeah, that was well after they jumped the shark on that series. But yeah. Anyways, so Dark Circles. Any idea on when that may be coming out?
Actually, it's in its final stages right now. So I don't have the date, but it is coming along. And Hannah, every now and again, sends me unprompted messages of how much she's enjoying the way that it looks. So I'm like, okay, that's a good sign.
Nice.
So it's going to be out soon.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I actually, myself and Angel, one of the other guys that comes on the show a lot, we almost went up to set for a day. Daniel John invited us and we couldn't go because of time and medical crap and all this other stuff. So we couldn't go, but because that was in Connecticut and I'm in we were both in Mass. So it's not that far of a drive. But maybe next time there's a movie around that I can go to, I'd go to it. I don't know. Either ways, but it's so yeah, this is an interesting one. And how long is the teaser trailer? The teaser trailer is not that old, right?
Well, a few months probably, because it's got the footage from the actual movie. So yeah, just a few months.
Yeah. So do you want to talk a little bit about what you do in Dark Circles?
No.
No?
Well, no.
No, I don't.
There's a little bit, I can't talk too much because I know I hate saying this phrase, but the thing is that I think it's a little bit spoilery for me, not too much, and we did show a lot in the trailer as well, and I was very I was against showing even as much as we did, but I guess there was no way around it. So yeah. Tony, I think you were trying to say something and cut you off.
No, I was just going to say at that point in time, it's one of those things
Damien LaFay's in the chat room saying, talk about Dark Circles. Jesus. We are talking about Dark Circles. There must be a timing thing. So yeah.
No, he's just reacting to me not saying, me saying that I can't.
Oh, okay.
He's always critiquing my live performance.
Whatever. She's the best. Anyways, so yeah, he told you to go ahead and talk about it. So go ahead. You could say.
Well, actually, Dark Circles used to be called The Event Surrounding a Peeping Tom. So you can tell that it's a story about a man who is living with peeping tomfoolery in his life, and he gets caught, and he's trying to get over his affliction, but then gets
be the best by talking about that.
But then he gets pulled back into it, and he cannot escape it because there's other forces that kind of pull him back. One of them is love.
Aw, what do you know? Anyways, I do have the teaser trailer for it, so let's play that because we're only about 15 minutes left. So here we go. Here's the teaser trailer for Dark Circles, and we'll be right back.
I'd like you to see a specialist. She's very good with treating addictive behaviors and dissociative memory disorder.
Sure. If you think I should, sure.
Great.
Martin, can you hear me? Can you see me? Martin, I'm right here in front of you.
Are you here, Martin? Outside? Outside of the house?
People can't grasp the meaning behind some horrible real-world event, so they start making things up.
Are you here, Martin?
Okay, so I hadn't watched that before. It looks even cooler than I was imagining it was going to look.
Cool.
I'm dead serious. Like, I have chills right now. I'm like, especially like even extra now want to see it. So hopefully it's available. I mean, I want physical of everything, but I'll deal with digital for the time being.
Well,
If
they have
that's the only option.
the Indiegogo. We can get it all signed.
But I'm also poor. Okay, so at the time, maybe I couldn't afford it.
We got you. We got you covered.
Well, what I can do is, I'll have to travel around the globe and meet you guys all at conventions and get it all signed by everybody, and that's why I go broke. No, but you guys should start doing more conventions. Just saying, that one I just did was really good time. It's only like 3 years in, but it was a really good time. They're expanding, so maybe next year, fingers crossed. When they're asking for suggestions, I'll be like, hey, reach out to these guys.
Nice.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the things where my buddy always talked about, the convention bug. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And now I go to every single one that always comes. So it's just that. It's just the
you would never go to them before. Like before, Leo and I would go all the time, and you're like, oh, I just don't like going. It's too many people. And now I barely go. And he's like, he's going to everything.
Well, that's the thing. Like certain ones are a little bit different. Like Monster Mania in New Jersey, you're like shoulder to shoulder kind of deal. It's cool, but it's just it's hard to meet people. Like I wanted to meet the last one. They had a bunch of the Scream people, and they had Matt Lillard, and they had David Arquette. And the only way we only go down for the day, and the only way you got to meet him was sitting on a 6-hour line. And it's like, well, I want to meet other people, so I decided not to. Kind of missed out. But then you get other cons like New Jersey Horror Con, which isn't as huge, but they have awesome guests, and you get to sit down and talk. I mean, there's some people that's there's awesome guests, and then there's also people that are like, give me my money and. So at that point in time, it's like, whatever. But like meeting awesome people like Kate and Damien and stuff like that, it especially at that point in time, it's like a horror fan's like dream, like sitting down and
it's like a little thinking, like, huh. So Sergio also mentioned before. He mentioned it more than once that Kane Hodder is as Jason, but. There's multiple Jasons out there. There's a lot of Jasons. So CJ Graham is a Jason, and there's a bunch of others out there.
So the one thing too I wanted to mention before, but now I can mention it even more. Seeing that trailer is like every movie you guys are in are completely different. Like have a different feel to it, have a different like tone to it. So that's pretty cool. Like how do you jump from that to now doing a Christmas movie? Like a nice. That you mentioned that there wasn't like any like crazy kills or blood or anything.
But the thing is, though, is that there's time off between these movies, right? It's not just like, all right, I'm done with this one. Fa la 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 la, everybody, let's go.
There is. I wouldn't say it would be a big problem to jump from a horror movie straight to the Christmas movie because, like, once you've like worked a little bit, you kind of learn how to deal with the character. Because, okay, I've had one before where it was a very emotional character and I carried it with me for like 2 weeks after we wrapped, and I was so depressed I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. I'm like, well, this is not right. So you kind of have to learn how to shut it off and on. So whenever that process clicks, it's not that huge of a deal to to get into a new character, especially if you just understand it. If you understand the character, you can adapt to it rather quickly.
Fair.
So just real quick before we go, this is something I was asking a lot of people over the weekend, like, well, actors and stuff like that. I'm just curious. So how did you get into, did you do theater and stuff like that? Or did you just start right off the bat, like auditioning?
I did theater when I was a little kid. I went and tried out, and they had like a 3-step audition process or whatever. And I have my mom to thank for it, because she saw the way that I reacted to theater when we went to see theater. So she dragged me over to this theater that we have in our town. It's a musical theater, and I tried out, and it's my first big win in my life. I was like 6. So I audition and we leave, but we get intercepted by a person first audition, and they were like, "You don't have to come back. We're gonna take her." I was like, "Okay, great." So, I was like, "What?" But yeah, so they really liked me on the thing. So I did do theater for a couple of years until I had to stop for school, because my mom always thought that I was, my place was in the academics. She had really high hopes, and I continue to disappoint her. But so I got, the education and the degrees and everything. And then I finally started looking for a job in business, and I was very disappointed. I was very sad that I couldn't find a job. And I was like, what if I find a job? And then I just started crying, because I would hate that idea even more than not having a job in business. Like, well, if there was no obstacles, what would you do? And that answer came really quickly. So that was acting and movies. So that at like 5 o'clock in the morning, when I came to that realization, I was able to go to sleep. And the next day, I just started firing off emails to anybody who had like a film, any sort of tag on Google in my area, and found a film group wherever I lived, and started meeting people and working crew, working for free. And meanwhile, kind of learning about everything. But then through that work, I met somebody, David J. David J gets a credit every time I tell this story. He's from Ohio. We worked on a Hallmark movie together, and he said, "Hey, my buddy is casting Terror Trips, and you should audition." So I auditioned, and I got it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool.
So by auditioning, yeah.
That's cool, because I was actually going to ask, like, for people that may be thinking about dipping their toes in the acting thing and giving it a shot, like. So you'd say go about it that way. Get on a Hallmark movie. Next thing you know, you're in Terror Trips. No, I just like start, networking basically, and just meeting the people in your area that are doing this stuff. And you'd think that that'd be a good way to start.
I think with everything. Theater. Pardon?
Other than because that's the thing is there's some people who like work in theater a lot, and they do it all the time, and then they just take a little break in theater to do movies and stuff like that. But then you have other people who've never done theater, and it terrifies them to even think about doing theater. And then, but then they can still go ahead and act in a movie, even though it's in front of a bunch of people. It's a little different. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, some people can. Some people think they can. That happens too.
Yeah.
But Damien, for example, he was in theater for a long time. And we still talk about theater a lot, and both he and Cheney actually kind of pushed me towards theater. They're like, you should go back and do it again. But I am a little bit hesitant, because what you're saying, and I don't think it's because I'm terrified of theater, because I've been there. But maybe it's the belief that you should be terrified of theater, so I'm like buying into it, and now I'm kind of like afraid of theater. But no, theater is wonderful, and it's a completely different beast. And I think that if an actor can do theater and film, it's wonderful. it's a whole separate skill for sure, and you can kind of see it on screen.
Oh, totally. I agree with you
theater
100%. And then whenever I go to the theater, I like almost every time I go to something at a theater, I'm like, I could see that person in a movie. Like that person should be in a movie. Like, you know, whether it be a friend of mine or whether it be like just someone else in the cast, I'm like, well, that person's ridiculously good. They should be doing some more, you know?
Yeah. Certain things that they don't really transfer well back and forth.
Yeah.
You know, but
it
definitely doesn't hurt.
Like the olden days, you know, back in like the beginning of Hollywood, really, where everything was like over the top. It's because they were all theater actors. Yeah. Everything's see, like everything was just very overacted.
Yeah, but I loved it. And you know what? When I watch those old movies, I'm like, this works.
Mm-hmm.
Still, it works even on camera. Even, you know, I don't know what it is. If it's the filming style, if it's the setting, if we just believe that that's how people talked back then. Like, and actually, I saw a documentary and they were playing a tape and somebody was speaking like that. And I'm like, wait, what? So people did talk like that. Some people did talk like that. I'm like, okay, whatever. But yeah, and it's weird how that stuff still worked, really, the overacting and stuff. Like Olivier, he is theater everywhere, right? But he did some amazing work in film to translate.
There's a lot of that back then. That's what you like were built on. The movies were built on the acting. Nowadays, everything's like the acting to some part is like second fiddle to like the background scene or the visuals or stuff like that. The actors, sometimes you find there's not even that good at acting, but back then that's what you were built on was you didn't have the explosions or this or that. Like, plus a lot of the things like what I grew up on with like the Three Stooges, it started as like vaudeville and stuff like that, and then were brought to, you know, the mainstream. But I don't know.
You don't know. I'm just
I don't know.
No, but I was just always find it like interesting because you know we talk to a lot of people that are like making their first movies or doing whatever, and it's always like, you know, what got you the bug, like, you know, what kind of did it. So I mean, it's interesting to hear how it started for you, and you know, I'm just looking forward to seeing more things that you do, and Dark Circles is one of them, and so it's about that time. Where can people go to follow you? You know, in a not like follow her, but I mean like on social media
to follow
find out what's going on. Yeah. Like if like to say if you're going to be at like any conventions or anything, or, you know, what movies you have coming up or any premieres or whatever you're doing.
Well, hopefully Dark Circles is going to come out pretty soon and make some folks happy. We do have some ideas that we're working on as well so that we can continue making people happy. But yeah, as far as social media, I'm not super great, but it's Kate.Kiddo on Instagram. And actually, I just got TikTok. It's empty right now, but I'll do something about that. So just, you know, just Kate Kiddo on those platforms and you'll find me.
Yeah. You know whose TikTok? You know whose TikTok isn't empty? That would be Tony Has 9 Fingers right there, Mr. 16,000 subscribers over there on TikTok.
Wow!
Yeah, slowly but surely.
You should. I need to.
That was quickly.
I'll need your help with that. You should do that.
Okay,
he just talks about the movies he has on his wall. That's all he does, and people are like, "Yep, I'm subscribing." I subscribe.
But at that, I mean, everything's a niche nowadays, especially with social media. The main thing is, you know, find what you're passionate for, and go with it. And that's what it is. Some people call me an idiot for collecting all this stuff, but then you get other people that, you know, enjoy it. Like
those people are negative for no reason.
Well, like I said, with social media, I know I put it out there, so I'm going to get the worst of both ends. Well, not the worst of both. What, you know, bad people extremes on one side. Exactly. So at that point in time, I know what's coming. I know, you know, there are going to be some naysayers, but I do it because I love it. So. But I'll definitely give you a shout. Speaking of that, you can find me at Tony Has 9 Fingers on YouTube, where I do movie reviews, unboxings, anything movie related. You'll find on there. Tony has 9 Fingers on Twitter, which I hardly ever use. Tony has 9 Fingers on TikTok, where I do not twerk, but I do movie reviews and stuff like that. Show off movies, recommend movies, which Dark Circles and Terror Trips. I definitely, I think I've mentioned it many a times on my lives. People always ask, what am I excited for? And I said, you got to check these out. What else? Tony's Movies on Instagram, where I show off the movies behind me. And of course, here on the Wicked Horror Show every Tuesday nights. Kevin?
Yes. Oh, you can find me A Knuckle on Instagram. Besides doing this, I also have a TikTok, which I don't twerk or do anything on. I'm actually thinking about bringing back. Remember, I did those on Vine. I did those like 5-second movie reviews or 10-second movie reviews. I was thinking about doing those again.
Like I said, you have.
They're just wicked dumb. I say the wrong names on purpose and all these other. Anyways, but I'm also part of Black and White Fright and Violence Buffet, and I produce a show called All Our Yesterdays, which is live Sundays at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Yeah, 2 p.m. Yeah, on Sundays. So that's that. Thanks for watching / listening. And we will see you later. And Angel's late saying bye, guys. And Sergio's saying he wants to say hi. So, yeah. Sorry, Sergio. Bye.